Joining me now is California Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia. He is the newly minted ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. Look, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries directly tied today's vote to next year's midterm elections, using the term Project 2026. Do you see things the same way?
I think the leader is absolutely right. I mean, first, this bill is horrific for the American public, and certainly it is crazy that you would have Republicans in competitive districts voting to rip away health care, rip away food assistance so that they can give huge tax breaks to billionaires. And so I think that Republicans knew it was on the table. They're going to harm the American public, and there will be consequences for that. I think one way that we can stop this Trump agenda is certainly to win back the majority in 2026.
Congressman, you brought up health care. President Trump is saying that the Medicaid changes aren't really cuts and that this bill will merely preserve Medicaid for folks who really need it. You know, he has a pretty big megaphone, obviously, as president. Are you concerned that it's just going to be louder than yours?
Well, the president always has the loudest megaphone. We know that already. But we're going to be out there campaigning across the country. We're going to be going to town halls. I'm going to spend a lot of my break going to Republican districts, as I've been doing, and communicating how harmful this bill actually is. And it's not just us saying it. It's the independent analysts. It's the Congressional Budget Office. It's governors, including governors in red states, that are actually saying don't actually harm Medicaid. And so we know that healthcare is going to be impacted not just by the loss of Medicaid, but also the impacts to Obamacare. And then it goes beyond that. It's not just that. It's also the food assistance. You're going to actually have school districts across the country having to make decisions because of cuts in funding about the type of food assistance they give to their kids.
And look, last November, the economy and cost of living overshadowed pretty much every other campaign issue. Why are you so sure that Medicaid cuts will move the needle more than tax cuts?
We know that people in this country rely on their health care, and that Medicaid is a lifesaver for so many families. And if you yourself aren't on Medicaid, then you have a family member, or you have a parent or a grandparent. And so it touches every family across this country. So it's critically important. But it's not just about Medicaid. It's why is that actual cut happening? It's because there's this transfer of wealth from the middle class and working class families that's about to go to the richest people in this country, to billionaires and millionaires who are receiving permanent tax cuts in this bill. And so it's important that the American public know why the cuts are happening and who's actually benefiting.
Congressman, I want to play what Speaker Johnson said on the floor earlier today about the social safety net.
Pregnant women, children, seniors, single mothers, the disabled, and the low-income Americans among us receiving Medicaid and SNAP will have the peace of mind of knowing that we've made these safety nets stronger with our reforms. We're going to make sure that Americans who do need and deserve those critical programs won't have to compete against people who can work but choose not to do so. That's not right.
Congressman, what's your reaction to that?
I mean, those were just lies. I mean, if you talk to anyone that's been in the halls of Congress trying to lobby and meet with Republican lawmakers, people with disabilities, folks in wheelchairs, sick seniors, people that are dependent on their health care, like veterans across this country, they would tell you that they are going to be impacted and that their dependence on programs like SNAP, for example, and food assistance is critical to them surviving. Let's be clear, this bill removes millions of dollars from food assistance, millions for states, for each individual states. Each state's going to lose tens of millions of dollars. And when you think about the entire impact across the country, and you look at the actual raw numbers, the estimates, and this is, by the way, Congressional Office, this is independent analysis, it's somewhere between 16 and 17 million people that could lose these benefits and health care. And so it's really serious, and I think it's really unfortunate the Speaker is making up his own facts and figures to a lot of the American public.
And I want to switch now to the topic of immigration. Republicans, a lot of them have been presenting what's in this bill as a national security issue. And according to a recent NBC News poll, about 51% of Americans do approve of President Trump's handling of the border and immigration. That's a NBC News Decision Desk poll. Is that something that you and Democrats really want to be against?
Well, look, I've seen obviously some polls where the president's also underwater on immigration issues. But at the end of the day, what this bill also does is it supercharges ICE. It doubles essentially the funding. And look, if you take the budgets of like the FBI, for example, another agencies, just take the intelligence agencies, and you combine them all together, that budget is actually now going to be less than the new budget for ICE is going to be. So the idea that ICE is going to have more resources than the FBI is crazy. And why? So we can deport and arrest people without criminal records, so we can deport United States citizens, so we can ensure that people don't have due process in this country, so that Donald Trump can implement his immigration agenda. I think it's really shameful that we're in this direction. And in a moment where we know that about 60% of folks that are being apprehended have not been convicted of anything, actually, I think give ICE more money is just be more terror in our communities.
So your colleague Susan Delbene told us that she believes that the more people learn about this bill, the more they oppose it. Is that a major obstacle for you? A recent Fox News poll said that fewer than 1 in 5 registered voters say that they have a good understanding of what's in this bill. So are you just having a tough time getting people to tune in at this point?
Look, there's obviously a lot of competing information for folks out there, and we know that people are receiving their information in a lot of different ways. That's why we are going to spend the next few weeks and months ahead of us talking about how horrific this action was by the Republicans and Donald Trump. And we're going to spend a large part of our congressional recess, I certainly will be, in Republican districts, talking to voters directly and asking folks like David Valadao in California in the Central Valley why he would vote to cut Medicaid when he has more Medicaid recipients in his district than any other district in the state of California. It's going to impact farm workers and day laborers and small business owners. Republicans have to be held accountable for their corruption and why they're supporting this bill.
Speaking of Republicans accountable, what about Democrats? And hear this. Kamala Harris ran on extending the 2017 Trump tax cuts for those making under $400,000 a year. Why didn't we see Democrats put up their own counter legislation to this Trump mega bill, at least as a messaging tool?
I mean, we would have been happy to have worked with Republicans on any part of this bill, but they had no interest. They slammed it through the Senate, they slammed it through the House, and they made it clear on day one that they weren't actually interested in actual tax cuts for middle-class families or low-income families. They were interested by making permanent tax cuts for billionaires and millionaires. That was their focus on day one. They had no interest in bipartisanship. And on top of that, they made ICE even more larger and with the ability to terrorize communities. They took away health care from, we know, 60 to 17 million people. They removed food assistance. And so they did not work with us. We could have actually worked together to make this bill better, and they chose not to do so.
And Congressman, you are the newly minted ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. If Democrats do take control of the House, what would your plans be?
Well, look, I think oversight is obviously at the heart of what Congress does. We're focused on accountability and transparency. There's two main things. I mean, one, we are going to hold Donald Trump, his corruption, and the corruption of those that are trying to harm the American public accountable. When you think about this foreign planes and this crypto scheme he's doing that's enriching himself and his family and his foreign investment deals, that's got to be investigated and there's got to be accountability. And then at the same time, we've got to rebuild our government and our agencies post-DOGE. That is not government efficiency. We can actually work to make government work better for the public. That's the mission of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, and we look forward to that work ahead.
Representative Robert Garcia of California. Congressman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.